Hi, everyone. Welcome to Talk Back. It is January 26th. We're in the studio today with two young people. You know, in a world that is often torn with strife and conflict, it's always important to have person-to-person contacts on a human level. That's what helps bring people together. That's what helps solve the mysteries of the wars that we inflict on each other. So I'm very happy to introduce two young people from Israel who have come here as emissaries from the Israeli young people community to be part of the community here in Eastern Connecticut, sponsored by the Jewish Federation of Eastern Connecticut. So let me introduce them and we can talk about what they've been doing. So first we have Sheila. Hello.
Hello.
Nice to have you here. And we have Netanel. Hello, Netanel. We were talking before how in America you would be Nate, but in Israel you are Netanel, right?
Yeah, that's
okay.
right.
So tell us, you are emissaries. Give us a little bit, Sheila, about what is the program? How does it work?
Okay, so the program actually sends a lot of young people from Israel to America, and we just were right before our military service, and we come to America just to be part of the community, staying with host families and working with the federation and different synagogues and different programs in the community.
Right. So you two are with the Jewish Federation of Eastern Connecticut, and all across North America, even to Canada even, there are people like you who are emissaries for different federations around the country. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. There is almost 200. Actually, it's like in America and Canada, as you said, and there is actually some in like all over the world.
So there's almost 200 of you every year. And Netanel, as Sheila said, you stay in host families that host you, maybe one house during the year, the whole year. And how is it always a boy and a girl who come?
It's not always a boy and a girl. Like this time, of course, it's a boy and a girl. But usually it can be like either two boys, two girls, a boy and a girl, and just.
So you're both high school. You've graduated high school, but before you can go on to college, unlike here in America, you have to provide service to the country, and it's often a military service. How does that work? How much service do you need to provide, and when do you have to do it?
So usually after we graduate, like at the age of 18, every boy and a girl going to the military service. The process starts when we are 16. We're starting with some interviews, some questions, some tests to see to what unit will be the best for. So all this process starts at 16, and at 18, everyone just going to their military service. It's a bit different, like how long the service will take. It's usually around 2 years and 8 months.
So you have to devote at least 2 years of your life to service to the country.
Yes.
But it often is military service, but it can be other kinds of service. Can it be?
Yeah, sure. It could be like national service, which is like there's a lot of types. You can volunteer in Magen David Adom, which is like the Red Cross, but in Israel. You can volunteer in schools, be a teacher. You can do all sorts of stuff.
Okay. So have each of you decided after you leave this program and go back to Israel what service you will enter? Or is that something you're going to do later? Have you decided that?
Yeah, I decided I want to go to the military. It's more usual going to the military than the other option.
And what about you?
I decided to go to a military service too.
Okay. So do all high school graduates have the opportunity to take a year off before military service? Or is that something that you just decided to do? How does that work?
So technically everyone can have the option to get interviewed for a specific program like we're doing this year here in America. There are some people doing the same thing but in Israel. So it's just a process that you have to start a little bit earlier before you graduate, and if you get accepted to one of the programs, so you have the option to do this year.
Now, does this program that you're in here in America count at all toward your service in Israel, or is it separate?
No, it's separate. We're just deciding to do an extra year.
Okay. So now tell me, why did you choose to come to this emissary program? What did you know about it beforehand? Do you know other people who have been emissaries in the past to America? And why did you think it was something you wanted to do?
Okay, so me personally, I came to the program because I knew, first I read it online and I thought it could be like a really perfect fit for me. And then I decided to talk with some people that I know and discovered that there are actually a lot of people that I know that have been emissaries in the past. And I just decided that I want to apply and try out for the program.
Okay, so you need to go through an interview process. So is there anything you have to write, or it's just talking to people? How does that work?
Yeah, so actually it's a very complex like process of getting in. There are like a lot of steps. When the final one is actually interviewing for the community that you're going to go to. So, yeah.
Okay. Do you get any choice in the community that you're going to go to, or is that assigned to you?
Mostly it works with partnerships. Like, would you like to explain about that?
Yeah, sure. So our community, for example, is working with a partnership of Afula
Right.
Gilboa. So a lot of, if I'm interviewing to a the program that we went to, and I'm living in the Afula Gilboa area, so most times I would be automatically like assigned to one of like Connecticut communities or like New England communities. It's called the SNEC.
So many areas in America have partner cities
Exactly.
in Israel, and that is part of the way the emissaries are assigned. I see. So why did you want to be an emissary?
It's kind of similar to Hila's story. I saw some people doing this year, like friends of mine that did this year, and it felt that it can be a really great opportunity to learn new things. It can be a great opportunity to have experiences that I might not get before my military service, and I really wanted to work with communities outside of Israel. So that was my main reason.
And I know, Sheila, you told me before that you have been in America before. You've done a little bit of traveling, and you haven't?
No, actually, been here last year. I've been here with a project called the Bronfman Fellowship.
Oh, you were another?
And then I stayed here with friends.
So tell me, I want you each to tell me what are the goals of the program? What does the emissaries program hope to accomplish? What are they?
Mostly creating relationships between the young emissaries and the communities that they're assigned to, and building really relationships that will last for a long time, and also volunteering and helping in teaching with kids and being with elderly and being with all ages and
Right.
varieties of the community.
Right. I know I went to a coffee hour we had at a restaurant with a few older people, and it was lovely to hear you. We chatted about things. So you also go to many places where young people are, and other community events. So what were your goals in coming? What do you think the goals are of being an emissary?
In my opinion, like the goal is kind of being a living bridge between Israel, a community in Israel and community in here. It's being the connection between, like, a lot of people want to learn about Israel, and in Israel a lot of people want to learn about America, so kind of being the living bridge. But more than that, just being part of the community, working with the community, getting to know everyone.
Right.
That's like the main.
So you're very busy because you have a schedule every day. You have different activities that you have to participate in. And we're going to do a shout out now to Marcia Reinhardt, who isn't able to be here today, but she is the advisor who helps you plan your activities and make sure everything runs smoothly as you go about your work as emissaries, right?
Yeah, that's right. Like, okay. Marcia is working.
So now that you're here doing this program, what are your impressions about America that maybe you had a different idea of when you were growing up in Israel?
I guess that maybe I got a lot of impressions from America of, like, it's a good question, actually, you know.
Well, let me ask it this way. When you're in Israel in school, elementary school, high school. What are you learning about America? I know you're learning English because you both speak English beautifully. But what are you studying about America, American history, American values, and so forth? What do you learn about America when you're going to school?
I guess that like with the English classes, we also learn American literature a little bit. And we do touch a little bit on America's history. About the culture, I have to say, I personally have been in a project in 8th grade that connects with American kids through, like, it wasn't Zoom yet, it was like Google Hangout kind of thing. And that kind of made a connection. Other than that, I think most of the connections that we had in America aren't that much related to school, right?
Yeah. Well, you must also be connected through our pop stars, our rock stars. They're worldwide, right? So you're connected that way to American kids, right?
Yeah.
You have that connection. What about you? What the impressions did you have about America before you came here?
So I'm not sure if there was like something specific that I thought, but every time America looked like the big world and just like the big world. And even though in Israel we have, as you said, like the same pop stars and the same a lot of things are kind of similar, but it always looked like, I don't know, the big world. And we got this experience now.
Let me ask you this. What is the most surprising thing you have learned you've been here since, September time? And you've gone back, you're going to go back to Israel for a couple of weeks, and then you're coming back. So what has been the most surprising thing since you've been here that you didn't expect?
I think, first of all, even though I kind of knew that, but the size of the country and how many people lives here and how many cultures live here together, and just that it's kind of a big melting pot together, and everyone, I don't know, just a lot of cultures.
Well, you're part of you're part of the Jewish community of Eastern Connecticut, but you are doing activities with people who aren't Jewish.
Yes.
So what is it like in Israel? You live in a community where everyone is of the same nationality, basically. So do you see any difference in that regard, that the American kids in this area are not in the majority? Do you notice anything about that?
I'm not sure I got can you repeat the question?
Is there a difference between growing up in Israel as a teenager and here in America? Do you see that? Can you?
Yes, like growing as a teenager in Israel, even though in Israel everyone, like most people are from the same nationality and things like that, but there are like differences between the people in Israel, and so it's, even though Israel, most people are from the same nationality, there are like some similarity of the differences between people, if it makes sense.
Yeah. So we have a little video about the two of you that you've made. We're going to show that in a second, but before we show that, just tell us a little bit about your life growing up in Israel, the kind of place you lived in, and your activities and your interests, your hobbies. Why don't you tell about that?
Okay, so I come from a Moshav, which is like a small town that does like agricultural work. I can say that my childhood has been more about of course, school and studying was something that was very important to me, but also I had like a lot of hobbies. So I was very interested in theater and music. Like I still sing and play like 3 instruments. I really also like sports. I was in a program of military training for women, and I was a very big part of it. I participated in it like two times a week. And I was also a guide in my youth movement in my moshav, inside of the town. Yeah.
What instruments do you play?
The ukulele, the guitar, and the piano.
So are you playing it here while you're here? Are you in a house that has a piano?
Yeah, but I mostly, my go-to is the guitar.
Is what?
Is the guitar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, guitar. And have you entertained for some of the activities you've been involved in?
Have I?
Entertained? Have you played the guitar and sung?
Yeah, like I try to bring from my, like parts for myself to the community. So
Great. All right, tell us about you, Nathaniel.
So I'm coming from a moshav to in Israel. It's in the north of Israel. I have with the hobbies. I used to do horse riding. I used to play one instrument, and I used to be part of a youth movement called Knafayim Shel Krembo. It's a youth movement that combines kids with and without special needs. And I took part in a program named the Brofman Fellowship, and
That you talked about your military service that you're going to go into. Do you have any idea? I mean, it's kind of early. I wouldn't expect you to, but do you have any idea what profession you want to wind up in eventually, or what your interests are?
Yeah, I'm still taking the tests and everything, but I would like to be assigned either intelligence or combat. I'm still pretty in general ideas because I just know that the main thing that I want to do is be important and that my job will help people. So yeah.
Okay, and how about you?
For me, it's still not sure. I'm still in the interviewing part. My goal is either going to the speaker of the IDF or something in combat, probably. But still, it's not sure. And as Hila said, my main goal is to feel that I'm part of, I'm helping to that I'm being I help to the country.
So you're very patriotic. You want to help your country.
Yes, I want to do a military service and help my country.
Studio, can we show the video of Hila and Netanel that we have? Here you go. Take a look.
Hi, Eastern Connecticut. My name is Hila Zeev.
And my name is Nathaniel Vaninger.
And we're gonna be the Shinshini for next year.
Woo!
Woo!
So, we thought about a fun way to introduce ourselves. So...
C'è la luna, mezza mare, mamma mia, mi maradare. Figli mia, cutterare, mamma mia, pensaccia tu. Sitte d'ogna pisciaolo, ite va, ite viene sempre baccalare del mano bene. Se ci picchia quando si è baccalare, figli mia, oh mamma, la 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 la, oh mamma, la 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 la. Mama dear, come over here and see who's looking in my window. It's the baker boy, and look, he's got a cannoli in his hand. If you marry the baker boy, he will come and he will go, and he will always mix the flour in the pan. If you marry the baker boy, he'll have the cannoli in his hand. Oh, mama, la 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 la. Oh, mama, la 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 la. Mama dear, come over here and see who's looking in the window. It's the musician and he's got the instrument in his hand. If you marry the musician, he will come and he will go, and he will always be playing in the band. If you marry the musician, he'll have the trumpet in his hand. Oh, mama, la 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 la. Oh, mama, la 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 la. C'è la luna, mezza mare, mamma mia, mi maradare. Figli mia, cutterare, mamma mia, pensaccia tu. C'è la luna, mezza mare, mamma mia, mi maradare. Figli mia, cutterare, mamma mia, pensaccia tu. Sitte d'ogna pisciaolo, ite va, ite viene sempre baccalare del manedene. Se ci picchia quando si è baccalare, perché me, oh mamma, la 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 la, oh mamma, la 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 la.
So those are random moments from our life.
Hope you enjoyed the video and we'll be coming soon in August. Woo!
So tell me, based on that film, how many siblings do you have? Brother, sister?
Yeah, I have an older brother named Yair. Then there's me. Then my younger sister named Lior. And my youngest sister, she's my baby, Shachar. She's 9.
Okay, and how about you?
I have one sister, and then my mother's husband have 3 more kids, so we're living together, all of us.
Okay, great. All right. So we also have some photographs of some of the activities that you've been doing while you've been here. Studio, can we show those? There you are. I think that's with Rabbi Alter from Colchester. Let's see some of the other photographs that you have. Okay, that's, what is that? One of the...
That's in London, right?
Yes, it's in one of the synagogues in New London.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is with our like one of our youth movement. It's the Jewish Community High School.
Uh-huh. There you are. You're giving a talk about Israel there?
This is actually about the holiday Hanukkah and the differences between how we celebrate it, like as Israelis, and how we saw that it's celebrated here in America, like differences.
So tell me about that. What's the difference of celebrations?
I have to say that like something that I saw that was like really different is that here, because of like the culture that there's Jewish kids and like from all over religions like other kids. So because of like here, it's more common celebrated Christmas. So in Hanukkah, Jewish kids are actually getting presents every night, which was something that was very new to me.
Right.
And we thought of combining it in our presentation.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So what do you get for Hanukkah? Just what we call in Yiddish, gelt.
Yeah.
Money, right.
Gelt.
One time or every night?
I think it depends on the family. I don't think
Yeah.
it's something, right?
Yeah, usually like the gelt is something different
Right.
between every family.
So many
and
years ago when I was growing up, it was just gelt. You got that. But then you're right, over the years, somehow because Christmas was always next to Hanukkah, they developed the idea we're going to have a present every night. Every
Yeah.
candle was a different present, and that was, yes, we have that in America. You don't have that in Israel. I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. All right. Were there a couple more photos that we have? Where is this? Is this at the march in New York City?
Yes,
That you went
this
to?
is in the march in Washington D.C.
Where?
The March for Israel in Washington.
Yes, March for Israel. Yeah.
So we went there with the community.
And this is.
This is with the synagogue Bethel in one of their events. Yep.
Nice. So you have had experiences with young people, old people, middle-aged people, everyone in the community, and with non-Jewish people too.
Yeah.
You tried to, and what have been your experiences with people that aren't Jewish? Have they expressed an interest in learning about you, about Israel?
I have to say that the one program that I'm thinking of is senior lunches that are served every Sunday, right?
Yeah,
Sunday. And there we get to see a group that's mixed with elderly from that are from the Jewish community and more for the broader community. And I can say that every time that we had a program or something to talk about, or even just like schmoozing with them, we always had like a good feedback and like a lot of like passion to learn, and yeah, it was always like a positive experience for me.
Yeah, that's
And-
great. So
And if I can add like more to that, we're gonna start working now with public high schools, and we're gonna start. And usually, like the Emissaries program is working with churches in the area. This year specifically, we haven't started this part yet, but high schools we're gonna start next week, and
Right.
working with churches, I'm sure right after that.
right, well, that's kind of what I'm saying, that human-to-human connection is very important. So talking about that, what do you think when you're going into the high school and talking to young people or talking to seniors, a group of seniors, what do you think is important for people to know about Israel that you think they may have a misunderstanding or not know?
Should I answer? I think that the first thing that I think that's the main purpose of having us here is seeing us as like young adults that are from Israel, and seeing that like we're just like normal people, we're just like American kids in a lot of ways. And first, just like seeing that, of course, acknowledging the differences, but and the history and stuff like that, but also like seeing that we can also like be friends, and we also have like a lot of in common. So that, in my opinion, is like the first goal. And also, of course, educating about Israel history and culture, which is very rich and like very ancient. So that's the two things that I think are important to mention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just talking about, we'll get to what's happening in Israel today. Do you find that people in America need to know more, as Sheila was saying, more about the history, about the story of Israel and the basis for some of the problems? Do you feel that?
Yes, definitely. And can see it more than ever now.
Because you know, in America, we have lots of controversy about that, and lots of young people, some in our universities, who are expressing some anti-Zionist and anti-Israel feelings, and there's just a lot of conflict around those issues. So let's get into talking a little bit about that. You grew up in a country that has been fighting for its survival for 75 years now. That's different from American kids who grow up usually without any threat of violence coming to their shores. I mean, we have our gun violence, and we had 9/11 and that, but in terms of the fear for our country's survival every day, American kids don't feel that threatened. How is it growing up in Israel, having that feeling in the background all the time?
I think it's something, when you live as an Israeli in Israel, growing up with all of the things that you just described, we kind of learning how to live with it, even though it's not the norm. Everyone in Israel know that it's not the norm, and it's making life way more harder, and it's do affect the daily life, but everyone knows that we have to do it to survive, and everyone knows that even though there is this difference, we're trying to be as best as like living a modern life and living the life, even though we know all this danger, when we know that we have to fight for it, and we know that we have to fight to live in Israel, and it's kind of a maturing. It's like making you more, it's helping the process of becoming an adult to know it, because when everyone have to go to the military at some point, you know that it's kind of a point in your life when you're becoming an adult, going to the military to save your country.
So you become more adult early on, knowing the threats that you kind of live under, but yet you're still able to go on and enjoy and live what you said is more a life like a teenager, like kids do here in America. Yeah. Did you want to add to anything Nathaniel said?
Yeah, sure. In my opinion, a lot that has to do with what you said is, of course, where do you grow up in Israel? Because there are zones that are more feel it in the daily life, like the envelope, like the north, like a lot of parts in Israel that do feel it on a daily basis. And I can say for myself that I agree with everything that you just said about like the process of maturing and everything, and that in a way it's like we know that for 18 years we have been protected by other people, and now it's like our turn to like give back the help.
Okay.
So yeah.
So let's talk about what's happening now. And I see you're both wearing medallions, and I want you to tell us the front of it. What does it say, Netanyahu? Read at the Hebrew word slowly.
So in Hebrew it says, Halev shelanu shavui be'aza. which means our heart is hostage in Gaza.
Our hearts are
Hostage in Gaza.
hostage in Gaza. And Hila, tell us what the other side is. There something on the other side?
Yeah, on the other part it says "Bring them home now" in English, which of course refers to the hostages.
The hostages. Okay. So you two, were you in America when October 7th happened? You were here, right? How did you feel?
The first thing that happened, like first time that we saw it, I can tell about myself. I was completely in a mess. I saw it first thing, like I stayed kind of late at night and I saw the message of what's going on in Israel right now. And to be honest, I couldn't work for a week after that. And even after that week, it was a really long and hard process to go back to work, to start doing our job as Young Emissaries. But definitely the first week, seeing everything that's going on, all those horrible things. And then from the other side, seeing a lot of people doesn't supporting Israel for what happened. The first week was just complete. I wasn't completely in a mess.
What about you, Hila?
Yeah, actually I can say the same for myself. Like I knew what's going on live on time because I stayed up as well, and I was also like broken. Like I think that's very important to remember about Israel is that we're such a small country. We're the size of New Jersey, like people here like to say. So it means that everyone knows everyone, and we're all related to the war in a way. Everyone knows someone who's not with us anymore, someone who's hostage. Everyone worries for someone important in our lives that are now serving in the military. And it just feels like the war is so personal and it hurts in the most like personal way. So I was very, very sad and frustrated at the beginning of the war.
So do either of you know some of the kids, teenagers, many, who were at that music festival where so many were taken hostage or killed? Do you know any of those people?
Yes, both of us unfortunately have connection with someone. I had a connection with someone who went to the Nova Festival. This festival is a really huge festival. It's happening every year, and it's a really big festival, and that's why we both know people from there, unfortunately, that either lost their life or now have to live the life with all of the trauma that experienced there. But
What about you?
I'm the same way. I also know people from the Nova like festival. I also know people from the Envelope, people that are relocated, like their homes are just, they can't live there anymore. And of course, people in the military. Yeah, it's very...
Do you have people in your family who are in the IDF who are serving now?
Yes, so my father, the moment that October 7 happened, he immediately went to the army as a reserve. Same thing for my cousin and a lot of my friends. I'm 18, almost 19 now, so it means that most of my friends now in their military service. So, yes, that's the people I know.
So, what are your feelings about the chance of peace? Let me ask you this way. When you were growing up in Israel, did you come in touch with Palestinian kids in different settings, or were you mostly separate?
So yes, I can tell about myself. I've been part of a program called Middle East Entrepreneurs of Tomorrow. In this program, every year, 120 students getting accepted every year. 60 of them are Israeli Jews, and 60 of them are Israeli Arabs and people from the Palestinian areas. And with that program, we're going every year for a full summer, learning together computer science, entrepreneurship, and together learning more about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. So about myself, this is my experience. This is how I got to know more people living in my area. So, yes.
So this was a program that you entered that
Yes.
brought Palestinian and Israeli kids together. But on a day-to-day basis in your regular life, you weren't in touch with, they go to different schools and
I think that's one of the problems of how people think about Israel, because in Israel you can't live your life without kind of coexisting. People in Israel, there are Jews working everywhere, and there's our people works everywhere, and everyone just have to work together. And this is how things are usually in Israel. And that's something that most of the world don't see, that people
Yeah.
have to live in coexistence.
I know, being a member of Hadassah, that the hospitals there, many of the nurses, doctors, patients are Palestinians, and it's a part of a community where everyone is pitching in together to, to help. So what's the answer? How do we get people who are working together every day, capable of living together and working together? How do we get them to stop fighting? What are your thoughts about all of that?
I think that the war is, it's very, there will not be an answer like in this interview about how, like what's the solution. I can say that in my opinion, you know what, can I pass the question to you?
Yes, I just can say that our war right now and everything that's going on right now is with, the war is with Hamas. Hamas are the group of terrorists that started the crazy massacre that happened in Israel on October 7, and we have to remember that, as I said earlier, Israelis and Israeli Arabs, and a lot of time Israelis and Palestinians have to work together to live our life. And everything that went right now, it's everything that happened with Hamas, again, with Hamas and Israel. And we have to remember that, and yeah, that's...
So do you have a feeling of optimism for the future or pessimism?
I'm feeling optimistic about
do?
about the future. I think that there will be a solution for everything. I think that that's how I see it. It has to turn out good at the end.
And what about you?
I'm still not sure right now. I'm trying all the time to be an optimist. I'm trying to think about how things can work for the best, and that's what I'm trying to focus right now, to hope that everything will work and people can live their life in a peaceful way. But right now the situation is really tough, so we need to...
And it's your job, as you said, Netanyahu, to build bridges between people, get people to understand one another, to learn about their histories, and to maybe help figure out a path forward. Because if you don't know your history, you can't go forward, right?
Yes.
You need to know it. So as we finish our chat today, leaving America and going back to Israel, what would you have hoped you would have accomplished by being here? What have you told us that we need to know here?
I think that the main thing that I can think about is just trying to do, I'll connect it a little bit to everything that's going on with Israel right now, just to do a little bit more research, to try to learn to see more perspectives, to see more people talking about a specific subject. That's just the main thing that I can think of, just to educate yourself and to learn more about topics that you're speaking about and things like that.
What about you, Sheila?
I like the way I say it. I think like what I want to leave here is, first of all, education. I want to leave as much as knowledge that I can about Israel to the Jewish community, and of course to the broader community. And I would also want to leave. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I would want to leave, of course, the knowledge, and the second thing that I would like to accomplish is creating like another family here in Connecticut, a place that I can come back to and people that I can keep talking to even when my service here is done and I'm back in Israel.
That's what. So keep the bridges open and keep the connections open is wonderful. So let's just end by telling us what's so great about Israel. Why are you so patriotic about that country? What is it? What are its wonderful strengths as a nation?
I think that the best thing that I can think now about Israel is how everyone is, no matter what happening in Israel, and there was a lot of problems even before the war, but I can tell even like the war is the best example for that, for how people came together and everyone is helping everyone and everybody care about everyone like they were their own family. And it's just something so amazing that I love living that way, because even though there's a lot of differences and all the time people doesn't agree like humans do, a lot of humans doesn't agree with each other. In Israel, in time of need, everyone will help everyone. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter your nationality, doesn't matter, nothing. Everyone is helping everyone.
Sheila, what about you?
Yeah, I really agree with what you just said. Like, I really believe that Israel is so special in so many ways that unfortunately, like, bad times bring us together, which we could see, of course, in this war and way before. And also, I think that Israel, it's just like, in my opinion, the best place to live in. Like, we have a very rich culture, history, and even though there are problems, and I won't ignore them, there are still so many great things that like I grew up in, and I want my children to, in the future, to grow up in.
And you're both optimistic about the future.
I think the best thing that we can do is to be optimistic.
Okay, great. So as you can see, these two young people are the best of Israel coming here to America to share their experiences and to build bridges of friendship, fellowship, hopefully peace, love, all the things that these young people can bring to us and can help the rest of us maybe in some way stop the conflicts. So let's hope they are the future, and it's been wonderful chatting with you. Good luck. Good
Thank you
luck
so
the
much.
rest of the year, and shalom for Israel. Okay.
Thank you.
And we'll see everybody next time on Talkback. See you again. Bye. That was good.